this is Jacqueline with Nickel and Dime Decor, and I wanted to share today with you on my Tumbler Chevron Quilt how I am quilting it. If you will notice, if you can, see in here, they did just a free motion quilting all over it. But as my viewers know, I can't do that. I don't know how to do that. So I want to show you, I'm gonna show a picture later of my inspiration for doing this quilt. I saw it on Facebook. And it is not made like this. You see this chevron, you have these in opposite directions. See the smaller part, and the smaller part is to the large part. On this example that I liked so much, just a picture of it, and I don't even know what website or where it was at, they have the small ends connected to the small ends. See, like that? Well, if you can visualize, that makes it real easy in quilting. They just went straight down like that, a ½ inch, I think it's what it looks like. And over and up and over and down. It made it continuous quilting. But I didn't make it like that. I went by the directions and made it like they showed. But this example was the absolute opposite, and I will show you what I mean when I show you a picture on the table here and how I decided to do it. It's straight line stitching, no big deal, but it accentuates the tumbler by quilting across and then on both sides. But you can't do it continuously. There's no way, and I'll show you why. When you have these things come up, you have to improvise. So that's what I want to show you is what I've done to improvise. And I also want to tell you, I have always recommended the friction pins. Well, I keep reading on all of these different quilting sites on Facebook and different groups. I'm a member of some of them. They all forewarn you not to use the friction pins because they leave ghost lines. I had that happen on one little quilt, and I was hand quilting it. So my hand quilting covered up that little bit of ghost line, and I didn't worry about it. On all of my other quilts that I've done machine-wise, that is the only one, and it was on black. So, you know, I've had success with them. I recommend them, but I want you to know the manufacturer of friction pins will tell you they are not for fabric. And so it's up to you. I've never, hardly ever used the black or the blue. I've always used the red. And it just comes off so quickly, so easily on everything I've ever done. So you use your judgment. Don't take my word for it. I would hate it if you used it and then you did have some ghost lines. But I do not like chalk. I tried that. I just do not like it. It is hard as the devil to get off, I think. And I don't want to take that much time to have to rub and scrub and get it off. So that's just a little sidelight I wanted to tell you. So I'm going to move the camera down now, and I want to show you exactly what I'm talking about. This row right here is the row, no, this row. No, I'll find it. I'll find it. This is the row that I have done. This one right here. Now, if you'll look, you can go down this line. First of all, I did my horizontal lines all the way across the quilt. No problem with that. I just eyeballed it. I did not mark or nothing. I kind of thought that looked like a 1/2 inch. It really probably is 3/4, but I went all the way across and just sewed a straight line. And then I did the same at the bottom here, just all the way across. Then to fill in these lines here, let's just start on this one. I went what I presume to be a 1/2 inch. Well, in fact, on these, I marked them a 1/2 inch. Every one of them, I went 1/2 inch over and marked it. Well, when you go down, first of all, you can't start up here. You see, that doesn't work. So I started right there. I went all the way down, and then I stitched in the ditch all the way over and back up a 1/2 inch, and I marked it. Then I stopped, went in the ditch, down 1/2 inch, and stop. You can't do this next row. You honestly can only do 1 row at a time. Stopped, stitched in the ditch, then go back up on my marked line 1/2 inch. In the ditch over to this one. Here was where mine finished. Went in the ditch to over to the next spot where my marked line was. Went all the way down in the ditch and up. Over that way in the ditch and continued to the end. On the very last place where your little 1/2 of a tumbler is, I still did the same thing, a 1/2 inch down to the bottom in the ditch and up 1/2 inch. Even though it's just a 1/2 of one, I still did the same thing. Now, if you're going to use the friction pins, do not mark your whole quilt. Don't do that. Only do 1 row at a time. Touch it with the iron as soon as you get through with the whole row. And it takes a pretty warm iron. You don't want to have it on medium setting. I put it on high, 3/4 high, cotton setting. Touch it, it's gone. And remove your lines off of the whole row. And anyway, if you marked this row, when you touch it with the iron, you're going to take most of this off anyway. So don't do but 1 row at a time. Now, here's for example. It would be so nice to be able to do 2 tumblers at a time, but I'll show you why that can't be done. Here's your 1/4 inch. Well, that's not no 1/4 inch, that's down the middle practically. So see, you just can't do but one at a time, one row at a time. I marked it right here. See where my 1/2 inch line is? It's not on that seam and it's not on that seam. My 1/2 inch is right there. So I'm not going to worry about where it meets on the row beneath it. I'm going to do each row just like I did. 1/2 inch in the ditch, up a 1/2 inch, in the ditch, and all the way over. And keep going. Now on the back, it looks just fine going in the ditch like that. It looks okay. You can still see the tumbler effect, and it looks just fine. I used kind of a embroidery type thread for my backing, because it's the only thread that really matched. This is such a strange color, and I strictly used it because it matched. But ordinarily I would use a cotton thread, but this was a polyester. I hope it stays well and wears well. I think it will. So that's how I'm quilting it. I like accentuating the tumblers better than an overall random theme. You do what you want. If you like to free motion quilt, you go for it. But for those of us that can't, I think this is the best way to go, is to accent your tumblers like that, and do your rows across first, and then mark your 1/2 inch and do them and go in the ditch. And going in the ditch, if you have a good thread that matches, honestly, it's great. It's not seen very much at all. Now, if you need for some reason to stop, and like, see, I didn't go all the way across this one. That's to use it for an example. I didn't go all the way across. If it was a real long distance, I didn't go. But I did go in the ditch from here to there. But I didn't go all the way across there. But like I say, you know, quilting is just like picking a pattern. It's your choice. It's what you want to do. But for something that I think is very pleasing to the eye, I think this is going to be so pretty when it is finished, and it will stand out because it's pretty. It really accentuates the tumblers. And I think my thread, my stitch, it's on my new machine that I received as a gift from my daughter-in-law's mother that passed away. It makes the most beautiful quilting stitch. I am in love with that machine. It's a Brother in Novus 5100, I believe is the name of it. It's at the sewing place getting cleaned. So I can't finish. I was going to show you how to actually sew, but I can't. I don't have it right now, so I hope I explained it well enough for you. And and on the borders, I'm going to show you what I'm going to do. You just measure from one end to the other. Find your center point, and draw you a line with that friction pen. That's just play like it's right here. And then I take my ruler and go over 2 inches or 1 inch, however close you want your lines. 2 inches, and then 2 inches from this line, catty corner, just like this. Here's my make-believe line. And then you put your ruler like that, 2 inches from the bottom up here and 2 inches from up here. Draw you a line. Okay, that's your beginning line. Then I go every 2 inches and draw another line. And so forth and so forth. I'm making just a grid. A crosshatch is what it's called. And it makes the prettiest borders. And then after you've got them all done this way, every 2 inches, then you go back and start in the middle, 2 inches from this side, 2 inches from your center point. And then you mark them this way, the opposite direction. And it's easy enough. You always want to start over here, not over here. Let's start sewing on this end. And the reason being is you want to be sure your border is pressed down real good. And sew from this direction over. If you sew from this direction over, you're going to put a fold right there. And you don't want that. So you're going to make sure, press it again. This is not pressed real good, I can see. I need to do a better job. After you've got it all nice and neat, then you draw that center line, that 2 inch over, 2 inch, 2 inch over, 2 inches from here. And then you do your crosshatch. And always start from up here and go down. And you can sew on the edge here, on the edge of your border, and back up to the next line, go over in the ditch, down. You don't really have to stop and start a whole lot. You can go down, over, down, and it's pretty quick. It's easy enough to do. And like I say, if you don't want it 2 inches, do it 3 inches apart. 3 inches is okay. That doesn't make just a real close one, but just what you do with that friction pen is map it all out, get it all out, and look. And if you don't like it and you want them closer, touch the iron to it and start over. It's so easy to redo. So that's how we're going to quilt it. When I get my machine back, I'm going to finish. I think it's just going to be, I love the back. I just love it. I'm real pleased with this fabric. It's a beautiful piece of fabric. So that is my quilting for the day. Hope you enjoyed it, and thank you so much for watching my channel. I have had so much fun. I've had my channel for about 2.5 years now, and I've had so many beautiful comments, and I hope I'm helping somebody learn how to quilt. Thank you.